And a 10-8 mark in the Big East, the DePaul Blue Demons. As we honor America with the singing of the national anthem. Members of the armed forces and veterans who are present, but not in uniform, may render the military salute. Singing her rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner is Aubrey Waters.
The weather outside is frightful, so come inside and warm yourself by the fire of competition, because DePaul and Creighton are just one step away from playing for a Big East title. The bracket for the Big East tournament here in 2024, we have reached the semifinal round. DePaul and Creighton on one side, Villanova and Marquette on the other, with a chance to take home the hardware for 2024. DePaul on Wednesday but the Big East honoree. Hello everybody, welcome to DJ Sokol Arena here on the campus of Creighton University. I'm John Schreiner alongside Shannon Smolinski. Creighton comes in as the #5 team in the country, their highest ranking in school history. We've run out of superlatives to describe this team. They've ran perfect through the Big East once again. But Shannon, DePaul will not be intimidated. They're one of only 2 teams to take a set off the Blue Jays this season.
Yeah, and how they can do that is slowing the offense for the Blue Jays down. Both Scholes and Oxley have had a very nice job and a really good showing for the Blue Demons. So what they need to do is get them going. That's going to open up some lanes for Jill Presley to go to work.
Well, we will find out who takes it home here today and gets a chance to play for a Big East title. Creighton, DePaul, right here on Flow Sports.
With steady wings, Blue Jays fly. With bright minds and curious hearts, they discover their path and soar to new heights. They uncover new research and explore new horizons. At Creighton University, Blue Jays find their perch side by side and take flight, ready to lead the world around them.
DePaul University students aren't just preparing for the real world, they're living in it. 98% of new incoming freshmen receive scholarships totaling over $57 million every year. And DePaul helps students find internships, hosting 17,000 every year from leading U.S. companies. Start your future at DePaul. As real as what's next. DePaul University.
Ball is brought to you by Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the Big East. Get your hot dogs, get your water bottles, get you some championship memorabilia. There's two teams here in Omaha trying to take home some championship memorabilia of their own. Perhaps it'll be the Creighton Blue Jays adding a number to one of those banners. Here are the starting lineups for the two teams, beginning with the DePaul Blue Demons, who come in at 19-12 overall. They finished 4th in the league with a 10-8 Big East record, and Jill Presley is the absolute focal point of the attack for the Blue Demons.
That she is. Coming into today's match, hitting 510 kills, had a great showing the last time that they played Creighton, taking a set away from them, and she is somebody that we're going to watch here today as the Blue Demons are really going to want to deal with the hot hand and find her if they're going to try to take another set or two away from against the Blue Jays.
And for Creighton, they come in at 27-2 overall, number 5 in the country, 18-0 in Big East play. They have won 20 straight matches, the second longest in school history. 6 of the players on the screen right now were all Big East, and the other one, Jaya Johnson, was all freshman. This is a star-studded lineup.
You got the setter of the year, you got the player of the year. I mean, just incredible showing that they've had here this year, and it's just really exciting to see what they've done here in Omaha.
Kirsten Bernthal Booth, the head coach of the Blue Jays, the winningest in program history. She has done just about everything. She's led the Blue Jays to an Elite 8, but they want to take it one step further. They said the goal this season from the outset was to make it to the Final Four. And with that number 5 ranking, she's got the Jays well on the way.
Well on the way is right. So just staying the course, right? Focusing on the little things that you're trying to do, one match at a time, one set at a time. That's going to be the goal for the Jays.
And on the other side, Marie Zedek in her 7th season took the Blue Demons to the NIVC, their first postseason since 01 last year. They got a victory. She felt like that was a huge step forward for her program.
Another great female head coach here in the Big East that's doing a great job leading the way for the Blue Demons, and will be really exciting to see what they're able to do here in Omaha.
So here we go. Full house here at DJ Sokol Arena for the home team. The Creighton Blue Jays, good DePaul supporter section over on the far side of the court opposite us as well. Creighton will be in the white, DePaul in the blacks today, and it will be the Blue Demons to serve first. Nora Mannion, the sophomore defensive specialist, will get it going, and we're underway. Second day of the Big East Championship. It's Creighton 1-0 early.
And for me, that's going to be the matchup today, is that middle on middle will be really interesting to see who's able to use them the most. And then for anything that you can do with that first contact and tightening up, that's going to really allow that.
Sydney Brysinger to serve it for Creighton.
Watching her range, you'll see she'll be able to go off the high hands. She'll go sharp cross. That one just getting a little room to play with over Kendra Waite.
4 times to shoot at.
Just some really good pace there too from Kendra Waite out to Ava Martin. She just elevates so well. Just a wiry little player she is.
Point to DePaul, we're tied at 2.
You'll see that a lot today, going back and forth from your deep serve and your short serve, whether it be Creighton or DePaul, just trying to find who they're going to target, and then from there, playing a little bit with the depth.
Kudiamat checks out, and the freshman setter, Amanda Sager, comes in to serve. Getzinger along with Kendra Waite with the setup. They get the block. Point Blue Jays.
Not much that Presley could do with that ball. A little tight, one-on-one. Really all she could do is try to go at those hands, see if somebody could cover her behind her.
Getzinger didn't even get there. That's a solo for Kendra Waite. It's Maddie Bilanovic who transferred in. A little bit of a scramble at the net, and Waite was ready for it.
She's not one to be shy.
4-2 Creighton, set number 1. Jill Presley back to a 1-point match here in the first.
Just a better ball there from the freshman, Amanda Sager, finding Jill Presley in a really good rhythm, but not putting that ball super tight on the tape for her to work with.
Presley had 2 aces in that 3-set victory. Gets one right there on command, Jill Presley.
On cue, nice flat and clean, or fleen as we call it, where that ball has very little movement and it will just drop.
Gives DePaul the lead.
And targeting Sydney Brysinger, the sophomore from Cincinnati. So they'll pull her back in this serve receive. They'll put Ava and Nora. So we'll see who Presley targets. Really good job being disciplined.
3 straight for the Blue Demons. They lead at 6-4. Presley with her 3rd.
John, something we talked about prior to today's match is how important that serve is going to be for DePaul, and they're starting out here with
5-point scoring run for DePaul. The Blue Demons still lead by 2. How about Jill Presley?
On her, and I like using her. Might need to use her a little bit more in transition, or if you are going to run her, maybe
On Creighton.
DePaul setter has the advantage there. I mean, she is able to have the priority of setting that ball. So when anybody's reaching over the blockers in that case.
Immediate side out for the Blue Jays.
It's really hard to read if you're the right side pin for DePaul and Kindleberger. Just having to understand if that ball is going to die in or if it's going to go all the way out to the pin. So
Reinhardt gives the point back to DePaul.
Unlucky swing there from Reinhardt. Hand follows through that net. I love the aggressiveness. Seen some overpasses on both sides of the net where either team is taking advantage of that. Just making sure you're being sunk and be. Very heavy swing there from Jaya Johnson. Playing a little bit of a different position. She's typically a middle and has converted to Creighton's right side this year and has done a really nice job with the transition.
Olivia Hausman the serve, and she's got an ace.
Another player that does a very good job with that flat, clean serve. That ball will just have a little bit of movement. You don't know if it's going to rise up or drop at that last second.
Freshman from right here in Nebraska. And Creighton has regained the lead at 10-9.
Right now, Creighton has 3 hitters out of the front row, so it's going to be really important for that first pass coming out of timeout here so that they can get some sort of off.
East tournament.
Amelia, turn off alarm. Amelia, weather?
70 degrees and sunny today.
Amelia, unlock the door.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Jen.
Why not?
Did you forget something?
My protein shake.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is.
You're so dramatic, Amelia.
Bye, Jen.
100 innovative companies, 1 ETF.
With steady
Before investing
wings,
carefully, read and consider
Blue
fund
Jays
investment
fly.
objectives, risks, charges, expenses, and more in
With
prospectus at
bright minds and
invesco.com.
curious hearts, they discover their path and soar to new heights. They uncover new research and explore new horizons. At Creighton University, Blue Jays find their perch side by side and take flight, ready to lead the world around them.
By 1 here early in the first set. Jill Presley did some work from the serving line, Shannon. DePaul came in to the tournament, having finished last in the regular.
Talked about how important Jill Presley is going to be in today's matchup. Not only is she somebody that she's one of their, top diggers on the team, second behind Krasowski. So it's really important that she is able to give her team that confidence to put that pressure on the.
But a great block setup. DePaul with a defensive point.
Yunku definitely getting in on all the action at the net, reading we talked about Jaya Johnson and how her main position is a middle. So when you have both her and Getzinger together, you can do a lot of different things, whether you're running one behind.
Other categories led the league in blocks per set this season. Another block. This one's out of bounds. It'll be point DePaul. They'll get the side out, trailing by 2, 13-11.
It's a really good set there from Kudiamat. Took a risk just to chuck that ball to that back pin, and I love that. And we're going to want to see more of that from the Blue Demons. It's taken a little bit more of. Had a really good showing here in the Big East tournament, and that's exactly what Creighton's going to do. If they can't get an even, look where they're able to get a tool or a seam, they're going to put the ball on the setter, and so that's going to take Scholes right.
Point to Creighton, back to a 2-point lead.
Really good effort there. And again, another hard swing to area one where DePaul has their setter. So again, you're going to see a lot of offensive out of system from the Blue Demons.
They delivered.
I love it. I love her spacing. She just does a very, very good job of staying behind the setter. She gets the one-on-one opportunity, and she's able to work with that space that's given.
Amanda Sager, freshman from San Diego. Down.
Very, very, very good job by the Blue Demons. That's exactly what they need to do here today, is find a way to get Scholes working, and when you can't, that's going to open up those lanes for Presley. So just a really good deceptive roll shot, very well executed. Just comes in like a freight train, just such a heavy arm and just a fast last 2 steps for her to work into that seam.
Eva Martin, one of the all-conference honorees for Creighton, 6th. Murray Avus, she got it.
She got the net call. So any time you can take advantage of any ball handling errors or any type of errors.
First line, that's a good sign for Creighton. She was a menace from the serving line her first time through.
And something that Creighton does really, really well is they run the slide. So both Presley and Yunku finding a way to slow.
For Yunku.
And that set was just a little bit off of the net, and it almost worked in her advantage as she caught the blockers on their way down, which set up that tool.
The bounds, and DePaul in front, 17-16.
Right now you have Creighton with their 3 options, all stacked over to that left side of the court. So we'll see if they run a slide here with Reinhardt.
Serve into the net. Creighton lost just 3 sets in all of Big East play this season. 2 to Marquette across. Ball falls to the floor. That's a missed opportunity for the Blue Demons.
That is. I mean, you got to give a hats off to them. They're doing a very good job of getting block touches and slowing these balls down. So, yeah, just unlucky break there, calling that ball and then just kind of hesitating at that last second.
Jays have been a little bit sloppy in the net.
Yeah, DePaul just has to outlast them and out of system. So you're seeing almost every ball, if Creighton can't get a clean look, they are sending it to that setter. So it's putting a lot of pressure on Kindleberger and Yunku and Presley. So just being able to stay with that and find hands and stay aggressive.
19-18.
Jaya Johnson is putting a lot of pace behind these balls. I mean, you can hear it, you can feel it, just doing a very nice job working those high aggressive seams and
Runs the slide. How about Allie Kindleberger on the outside?
Very much similar to Jaya Johnson. Typical position is a middle, so when they're in serve receive, they are able to run her as that true middle offensive slide. So some parity that they're able to show, which is
Paul has been serving magnificently here in the first. And that prompts a timeout from Kirsten Bernthal Booth as it's DePaul first to 20. And yesterday, their head coach had some words for the team about family at their Thanksgiving celebration.
And couldn't be more thankful for this group. You know, it's the family within the family. Your first team in life is your family. And then a lot of us athletes experience other teams after that. So we've got 2 teams here tonight. We've got a lot of our fam, and those of us who, you know, who don't have family here, this is your extended family. And then we'll get back out there tomorrow, and it'll be our volleyball family against Creighton's volleyball family.
And the volleyball family taking in a great Thanksgiving meal. I guess if you got to be away from home on Thanksgiving, Shannon, you want to be doing it while you're playing for a championship.
And they're playing well. They're doing a very good job just doing the little things. They're serving well, they're finding their middles, and when you can play well and be brought in as a family, it's almost like an advantage where you Wednesday, you start playing and you get some off time, but you're away, but you're together. So that really kind of brings you in together as a unit and as that family playing for each other. It's really good to see.
And for Creighton, they are in a spot now. DePaul first to 20. What do they draw up out of this timeout?
Yeah, they're going to have to draw out a pass, right? So hopefully they had a nice Thanksgiving dinner at Mahoney State Park, you know, kind of being away from maybe the normal day-to-day and trying to get together and celebrate that. But to answer your question, John, you know, they have to slow down the serve from DePaul. So it seems as if they're back on their heels a little bit. So just tracking that ball early and seeing if they can't put some pace on the tempo. Very nice job of working out of a not so great first touch and just you know, a ball that could have landed either way, but really good effort there from Presley.
By Oxley, the Nebraska native putting it down in front of the hometown fans.
Very good job from Oxley, and that is something that is just so important. If you can have 2 middles.
Finds an open spot, 21 all.
It's a hard read there from Rachel Krasowski, the Big East Libero of the Year. Thought on this overpass she was going to take it down the line and have everybody shift, and Ava had a lot of space there to work with.
Puts a hand over the mouth. Didn't really mean to do that.
And sometimes those athletes will just try to swing away and try to find those hands. But it's going to be difficult to find those hands if you're overrunning the ball. So just a little bit early. It's a really good set. Just timing just a little bit too anxious.
In that red zone, as you like to call it.
On the serving run from the Jays, they've been very successful using their middles. So again, if that can be option 1, and then if not, be ready to try to put some pace with your pin and cover your hitters and stay in those long defensive rallies.
One of those Blue Demons, Rachel Krasowski, was honored with Big East Libero of the Year. She led the conference in digs per set. She was top 50 in the country at the end of the regular season and gets her honors, and well deserved.
Coming into today's match, 548 digs so far this season. And I mean, you can see we're not even done with set 1, and she is putting in some work. So you gotta love to see that from your bro. And
she was fabulous on Wednesday in that 3-set win over St. John's. Just so good patrolling that back line and keeping the ball up every which way.
It's so important. If you can have that court general in the back that's controlling that first contact, whether it be from, you know, serve receive, whether it be from the digs, and that's something that you don't always see, you know, on our side is the serve receive percentage. And St. John's targeted her pretty early, so whether she's taking on seams from those hitters, whether she's helping out on that second ball because their setters get targeted a lot, she's doing a lot back there.
Back to action, 22-21, Creighton in front. Ava Creighton 2 points away from taking set 1.
Really good range there from Norris. Talking about family, showing her, celebrating her. and what she's doing this senior season, but she just has tremendous.
The side out. 23-22.
I love that route call. Running a slide and a one away. You essentially have two middles on the floor from that serve receive route. So just a really good job there by DePaul, and you can't execute it if you don't get the pass.
Important serve for Amanda Sager.
Good effort there from DePaul. It's just so hard to read Kendra Waite. She's so deceptive when she's setting up that ball to her pins. If you're the middle on the opposing side, it's just so hard to read where she's going to go.
Creighton. Well, Creighton senior setter Kendra Waite, for the second straight year, was honored as the setter of the year and the player of the year in the conference. The honors just continue to pile up for Kendra Waite. She was third team All-American a season ago. And when those All-American teams come out, you're pretty assured to see number 15 for Creighton on that list.
Just a bittersweet, you know, you celebrate her and all of her accolades that she's done here as a Blue Jay. And I mean, she's easy to celebrate because she just works. That Coach Booth has said, you know, she's ever coached, just a pure athlete. It was a track star athlete before coming to the Blue Jays her senior year, just racked up all sorts of track awards as well. So, you know, I love watching her play. I think she does a phenomenal job running the floor. I think sometimes when you're watching setters, you talk about what they do offensively, but it's not what she does offensively. I mean, she's essentially a setter that is also like a libero. I mean, she is going to dig every ball. There's not a ball that player will not go for, even if it's in the stands. I mean, if you've seen or watched Creighton at all, I mean, there's times where the staff will have to be prepared to stop her from going into the bleachers. So I can't talk enough about her as a player and a person, and I'm really excited for her future and where she goes as a young human being.
She's got a future in professional volleyball right here in this very town. Drafted by the Omaha Supernovas. Second point of the second.
Why not? You know, just makes sense.
Oh, some way gets it across for the point.
Seen a little bit of confusion from DePaul. See if there was a challenge or not. They thought that maybe that touch from the Blue Jays instead of...
Krasowski couldn't keep it in. Another point to Creighton. Good run to start this second for the Blue Jays.
And you can't have two blockers on Kendra. And while I understand she's an offensive weapon, you just have to assign one of them to her, because if you have two blockers and you leave any of the...
Point to DePaul. And they're off and running here in the second set.
Great job on both sides from their out of system on that second ball, really putting both their pin hitters in a position to find hands, leaving them enough space to work with.
Serve from at the net. Point Blue Jays.
Creighton is very, very effective at that back row set, whether they're running it with Nora Sis or Ava Martin. They run it at a very high clip.
Just a bit long. An aggressive serve, a little too aggressive. Lead down to 2 here in the second. Here's Amanda Sager trying to drag
Paul doing a good job of slowing the ball down from their block. Sure, Krasowski would want that one back as she went after it with 1. I think she could have handled it there with 2, but the blockers for DePaul are doing a nice job of trying to slow it down.
Kendra Wade.
That's a pretty big block. I mean, the two of them do not only a great job of being physical, but the two of them, I feel like, do a very good job of reading and stay the course. Stay the course if you're DePaul. That's what was working for you in set 1. So finding a way to take those chances, find Scholes, as she's just done such a great job with it. Threading the needle there. Kendra Wade puts her in a perfect spot, gives her enough room to work down that line, and Kindleberger just wasn't able.
Out of bounds. There was a little miscommunication on the second ball. Presley jumped in front to take it. Might have thrown the timing off.
Very similar to Norris and Ava Martin. Jill Presley will do all that she can everywhere. So running that back row option is a really good option. If you can't use
it into the net. Yeah, and Presley at 5'11", she's not 6'1" or 6'2" like the two outsides for Creighton, but she elevates so well that you can.
Freshman from Italy is having a really good match thus far, showing her physicality and showing her range. As Jaya Johnson gave her some room to work with. Connecting in front, you'll see the middles for Creighton run a lot with their middles behind. So I really like this one-away play from serve receive to get them involved.
Hausman. To get to the second ball, ran into the back of Kindleberger, and with some miscommunication on the floor and a 6-point lead for Creighton, Marie Zedek takes a timeout.
What is it?
The bus is leaving in 5 minutes.
All right, fine, I'll be out in a second.
You scared the gigabytes out of me.
I scared you.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is. 100 innovative companies, 1 ETF.
I think I might have oiled myself.
Before investing
DePaul
carefully, reading,
University
consider fund
students aren't
investment
just
objectives,
preparing
risks,
for the
charges,
real
expenses, and
world.
more in prospectus at
They're living in
investor.com.
it. 98% of new incoming freshmen receive scholarships totaling over $57 million every year. And DePaul helps students find internships, hosting 17,000 every year from leading U.S. companies. Start your future at DePaul. As real as what's next. DePaul University.
As many awards as Kendra Wade has won for Creighton, Nora Sis has just about as many. She's a three-time preseason player of the year in the Big East.
An end for her in the Blue Jay uniform, but the hometown kid, you know, the thing for me with Nora, she's like a golden retriever. She's so stable, she's so steady, and it's not just who she is as a player on the court, but just the things that she's doing as a teammate, and just the selfless behavior that she embodies. Is just so great for young players to see that, you know, it's celebrated, whether you're that dominant with just such grace and ease. She's just such a fun athlete to watch.
And she changed it, but it was in favor of DePaul.
I like Blue Jays working some different things, some different options that they're trying to run on serve receive. You know, they didn't play on Wednesday, getting on over the last week, might not be successful on that first run. So you like to see where it's not just the same thing over and over.
Reisinger in the block, just forced it into the hands, out of bounds. That's a big point for DePaul as they get back to within 4.
Depending who you're talking to, you're either a fan favorite or you're not. You're starting to see a lot of the Division I level receptiveness of it, as well as the control that you have with it. You're starting to see it come back a little bit more and being pretty successful.
More assists with her 9th kill of the match already. Martin will serve it at 13-8 Creighton. High hand, and looks like we're going to get a challenge. I think it was touched.
The original call is ball out of bounds, point awarded to Creighton. DePaul is challenging that there was a touch.
Whether you have somebody on the bench as your staff looking for these, whether it be somebody in the net, so in or out, or a net violation, are all things that you can go back and review, whether it's at the end of the rally or something that was during the middle of the rally. And a lot of times too, you'll have the players on the court that will ask for their coach to pull the challenge card, and that's exactly what we see here. Right when they ran that route in real time, Kindleberger thought, I saw a touch, a micro touch, so they'll be looking to see if there's any movement on Nora Siss's outside hand, but
looks like it was well outside of that left hand.
And sometimes
after review, the call is confirmed.
Spinning, which will have those players think that there might have been a touch because that ball was spinning. But what's been really good here in the Big East is the officials have done a phenomenal job of keeping the pace of play with the challenges. They've been very quick to go to the monitors and be pretty efficient with the time.
14-8 Creighton. Not so for Kindleberger, who gets it through.
Really good use of the block there. The blockers are your friends, so finding a way to stay behind that ball and work some wrist away. And
flying forward, got the point. I mean, it's almost like she took off from in front of the line when you know she didn't.
Yeah, and I thought maybe too her foot might have been pretty close, but I love, you see the momentum where they take off from behind and they're almost jumping through that ball. Does, I think both her as well as Getzinger, I think they play with some edge. Just a little bit of a different.
Couldn't punish DePaul for, and it will keep Jill Presley, the best server for DePaul, on the line.
And that's huge for DePaul. They can get maybe 1 to 2 points with her back there. That's really
she wanted. And now that's a timeout for Creighton. Kirsten Bernthal Booth sensing that DePaul is on a little bit of a run, wants to slow down the momentum. Talk it over with her side.
Just a really smart play there by Nora to try to find that 4-to-4 shot, just overran it.
And part of the awards for the Big East always include Freshman of the Year, and this year they were co-Freshman of the Year for the conference. McKenna Brand of UConn, Margot Kemp of Xavier. We got a chance to see McKenna Brand, the freshman libero for UConn, on Wednesday. And boy, she was really good in that match, and that was a tight one between UConn and Villanova.
A lot of freshmen on the floor so far in this Big East tournament, which is really exciting if you're a Big East fan, being able to see the level of volleyball continuing to get higher, and then having freshmen being able to make an impact so early is only going to help this league continue to get competitive and continue to challenge.
And if you haven't seen Villanova freshman Campbell McKinnon, I encourage you to stick around for match 2 today. She is fun to watch.
That she is, and I love how when she comes off that bench for her 3 rotations, she comes in and she is on a mission.
Yeah, that's coming up at 5 o'clock Central Time today. Villanova looking to pull off another upset as the 6th seed. They dropped the 3rd-seeded UConn Huskies in round 1 in 5 sets. A thriller. They have Marquette. Yunku, but too long.
That's what happens when you get forced out of system and the rallies go back and forth. It really comes down to the pins who are able to find a way to still score. If you're out of system, you still have to find a way to be in system. And so right now, the Blue Jays are just doing a little bit better job of finding a way to score out of system.
Just a little long. Wait, keeping that ball on her side of the net, avoiding the joust. But Sis just a little bit too much on it.
And it was a heads-up play there by Nora. She saw the space. You see the athleticism and the work there from Jill Presley. And a smart heads-up play to let it go.
Backhand able to get it. It'll go down as a kill for Nora Sis. She's got 11.
You've seen a lot of that from the Blue Demons, doing a really good job of getting hands on the ball at the
play that comes out in the favor of DePaul. Got to have more of those.
Exactly, just a very heads-up play there from number 9. Just seeing the outside edge of the block. That hand is not fully turned inside the court, just that weaker hand that she's able to go off of.
Blue Demons.
A little bit tight and a troubled set, and turned it into something positive as she tries to hold her, going right into the belly of the block. I love it. I talk about your blocker being your friend, but it's not going to be your friend if you're going into the belly of the block.
Look at the hitting percentages there. Creighton 418, DePaul 186. Creighton on the season hit over 300 as a team. And you talk about the statistical things. If you're hitting over 300 as a team, you're just not going to lose very many matches because that efficiency is so high.
And they have so much to work with, whether it be Ava Martin, Nora Sis, your middles and Getzinger and Reinhardt. Kendra Wade just has so many options to find.
Ava Martin. She often gets overshadowed by the other.
But what I really like about her game that's really developed over the last, year or 2 years is just that range where she's hitting that 4-to-4 shot. She's getting a nice controlled tip over a block. I think passing as well as defensively, I think her game has really elevated. So just, for me, I think this season she's had just a very a big season, which is something that's going to be important when her and Nora kind of hand over that baton, if you will, to take on that leadership role and the outside role.
And you talk about developing those other shots. Is it a case where coming out of high school, just having the big arm is enough and you've never had to develop it? Or, I mean, what is that situation?
The shots, whether it's going high line or high cross, as soon as a blocker, as soon as the other team sees that, scouts that, they're going to take that away. So over time, you have to work on developing a little.
Shots. Krasowski was there. And Oxley called for the lift.
Yeah, and that's just a tough judgment call from your R1. They're letting things play a little bit more, a little bit of a double contact, but that is legal. However, if you are, holding onto that ball or carrying that ball, that's going to be called a lift.
20-15 Creighton, and Brysinger serves it into the net.
We talk about the air ratio of your service aces to your service airs. So for Creighton there from Waite and Getzinger, just so explosive on that slide, and it's a lot of trust. And for only 1 year playing together, that connection is.
Service error, the 6th of the match for Creighton.
As a coach, you're okay with some of these balls going wide. You're okay with.
So it comes to Amanda Sager. DePaul still trailing by 4.
Just has that whole left side of the court to work with as the block. Yavuz she's got to recognize that set's dying in.
Yavuz, wide, no touch.
That's a perfect example. So Kendra Waite, Kira Reinhardt talked about their physicality, but I also talked about their setup. So they did come in there with Yavuz.
Yavuz got the touch that time and staves it off for one more point at least. 23-18. DePaul's got to make a run right now, and they have the player on the serving line to do it, Jill Presley.
But she doesn't win.
So strong in the air, Kendra Wade. Now she's got a little breath of life here in this second set for DePaul.
See, Creighton's trying to play with the deep and the short. Not able to execute.
Scholes the serve.
As both Ava Martin and Nora Sis combined 20 kills. That'll do it.
Ball putting up a pretty good fight in the second as well as the first set. Creighton comes out on top, and we're joined now by the head coach of the Blue Jays, Kirsten Bernthal Booth. Coach, first 2 sets have been tight. What do you like that your team's done so far?
I just think we're giving way too many points away right now. I think when we've been in system, we've done some good things, but we've missed a ton of serves. We've been aced several times. We've had net violations. I mean, we're just giving away too many points. So that's going to be the message in the locker room of, yeah, we've won these games, but this is not what we need to be doing to be playing our best right now.
All right, Coach, we'll let you get to that locker room.
Thank you.
Here's the Bernthal Booth. Not so happy with how her team has played so far. We'll see how they come out in the third. DJ Sokol Arena, the host of the 2024 Big East Volleyball Tournament. Creighton leading 2 sets to none. We're joined by DePaul head coach Marie Zidek. Coach, 2 tight sets through 2. Your team's come up just short in both of them. What do you got to do here in the third?
Well, first off, my last name is Zidek. And I think one thing that we have to do, we've been with them pretty much the entire way, and it's really been just a couple points here or there where we've been just a little disorganized in our transition dig. So we're looking to tighten that up, and then I think if we can get a little bit more involved in their out-of-system swings with our block, we trust our arms too. So we'll look forward to seeing if we can jump back on the horse this third set.
Coach, for me, I think your blockers are doing a phenomenal job in getting hands on the Creighton offense, as well as your middles are just doing a really good job. You could tell that was a point of emphasis. So what can you speak on in regards to your blocking assignments as well as your middle productivity?
Well, playing a team like Creighton, they hit hard. And so they're, when teams hit hard, we always tell our blockers those are matches you want to play in. So we'll continue to scheme how we scheme, and that's the key, is to slow some of their arms down.
All right, thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks.
2 sets to none, Creighton up. See what DePaul has to offer. Blue Jays have hardly had to work into a 4th set this season. Take a look at the stats from the first 2. Creighton hitting .419. It's tough to beat when a team's that efficient.
When you have the dynamic duo in both Nora Sis and Ava Martin for a combined 20 kills and both hitting above 400, and then Jaya Johnson, when you're in a 5-1 and you have 3 pins, and Jaya Johnson, Nora, and Ava, and they're all hitting, above 400, that's really going to do that to the numbers, whether you're in system or out of system. That's really going to hold the weight down for you.
And the 4 aces for DePaul. We said they needed to serve well. They're going to have to continue that here in the third.
Yeah, I think they're doing some really good things. I think they need to stay to course, controlling that first contact, whether it be from the service line, whether it be from serve receive. I would agree with Coach in regards to, just finding a way to get some more offensive productivity within their transition game. But I like what they're doing. I think that they have the right pieces in play. I think it's just going to be how can they execute.
Sowski. And a big swing that scores for DePaul. They take the first point here in the third.
And that's the execution there that Coach wants to see, is that transition play. Again, getting hands on that ball, slowing it down. Great effort here as the layout.
Tied at 1. Elise Getzinger, huge addition to Creighton in the offseason, the transfer from Kentucky. And it's Nora Mannion down on the court. Coach Zidek and the training staff out there. See what happened. The ball just comes up off the floor and right to the forehead. Nora Mannion up and walking back to the locker room, so that's a good sign.
Starting to see some concussions a little bit on the rise for the game of volleyball. I mean, these players are elevating the size of the court, the net, it all stays the same. Whether you're a senior in high school or whether you're a collegiate or a pro player, and the level of there's no block to slow it down, and that's what happened. The block, the seam in it opened up, hit the ground, and it's just that fast bang bang play.
Ace for Creighton, blocked, but out of bounds. Point to DePaul. Blue Demons coming out with some fire here in the third.
Really good use of the block. Just a really great backswing where she works that cross-body high thumb-up shot.
Serve from Krasowski. Defensive effort by the Blue Demons.
Just really great resiliency as well. sometimes it's not always going to go as if you draw it up that way, but just staying in those long rallies and just doing.
Tied at 3.
Got that pinky. That's all you need. It's just a little bit of a micro touch where she comes in and tries to block.
To the locker room, did not like how her team had served. That is error number 8.
And in the fashion of which they're doing so, I talked a little about it in set 2. You know, you're going to live with maybe the second, third, fourth serve missing, or potentially missing that first serve if bottom of the tape.
Abby Cahill, the freshman defensive specialist, couldn't keep it up.
And gets in her slide. You're all sitting back expecting a heavy swing, and so if it just
Scholes scores on the slide.
I like that. I like that a lot because it wasn't a perfect pass, but it was good enough to get her involved. And it's just going to be a different look that you haven't shown a whole ton on serve receive. So I think if you can keep finding a way to get Scholes involved, just keep going at her until the Blue Jays answer.
Jill Presley with a 4th ace.
I think we'll see a challenge here from the Blue Jays staff. Does it drop?
Certainly looks like it.
Richard DePaul was in, point awarded to DePaul. Creighton is challenged that the ball was out.
So we'll see how quick they can be if somebody had a stopwatch on them, they've been pretty quick on these. So they'll go look at the monitor. Any part of the ball that hits obviously in the core or that back line would be in. And from my view and from that view, it looks like it's in.
Not really even questionable from that angle.
Yeah, that angle definitely looks to be in. So if there's a different angle, which they do have.
After review, the call is reversed. The ball is out. The point is awarded to Creighton.
Interesting.
Creighton retains their challenge.
We did not see it that way.
And again, they do have different views that we don't see here at home. Or potentially the athletes that are on the bench to help out. So good challenge. They'll keep it in their pocket.
Good use of the challenge for Creighton. Ties the score at 5. Got it. Through the block and scores. 6-5 Creighton.
See, the defense is going to be set up out of system from her, where they're going to shift and rotate down the line, which leaves that zone 6 wide open.
It down off the hands of Krasowski. And a 2-point lead for the Blue Jays.
When you're defending that back row ball, you almost want your 3 defenders in the back row to be, almost straight across like a serve receive. And then you just want to be driving forward, but she puts so much pace on it.
Timeout DePaul. Creighton trying to close it out in 3 here in the semifinals.
With steady wings, Blue Jays fly. With bright minds and curious hearts, they discover their path and soar to new heights. They uncover new research and explore new horizons. At Creighton University, Blue Jays find their perch side by side and take flight, ready to lead the world around them.
DePaul University students aren't just preparing for the real world, they're living in it. 98% of new incoming freshmen receive scholarships totaling over $57 million every year. And DePaul helps students find internships, hosting 17,000 every year from leading U.S. companies. Start your future at DePaul. As real as what's next. DePaul University.
Big East Volleyball is brought to you by Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the Big East. Creighton, the top seed in their home building, leading 2 sets to none. The pressure all on the other side for DePaul here in the 3rd set. They've responded well, but now's the time. They can't let it get too far out of reach.
Got Scholes in here for one more rotation. Wouldn't be surprised to see her on a 1 away here.
Off high hands to score.
Very disciplined high swing there from Yunku. Sees the blockers are still moving, working in those seams. Live there. That's exactly where you want to be going for.
Scholes. She got it down anyway, 8-6 Creighton.
Defensively, you want to be sunk to defend when the ball's in the setter's hands. And so at that last second, Sager was just caught moving. And if she would have been stopped, I think she would have been able to handle it.
Here's no assists. Touched, yes. Point Creighton. Should also mention for DePaul, put together a little different lineup than they're used to having. And that's Louisa Yunku, unable to find it down the line.
DePaul's done a very good job here so far against this Creighton team, just tightening up some of these errors. And you know, you have let one of those spiral and turn into a snowball. I mean, the little things that they've been doing a really good job is just trying to get over that hump. So whatever you came into today's match with, whether it's running your middles, whether it's trying to put tempo on the pin, you know, with your outsides or right.
Johnson comes up with a big point.
She's had a very good match today, hitting 500, 6 kills on 10 attempts and only 1 error, using the block to her advantage.
Smashes it off the block for the point.
Good pass there from Presley. Both Presley and Kindleberger have been doing a lot for the Blue Demons. Anything they can to leave it all on the floor for their teammates.
Point to Creighton. They lead by 4.
And that's a shot, you know, when she was a freshman, you know, she might have taken that big rip on the ball, and you can't do that when you have 4 hands. So when we talk about developing that range in that toolbox, that right there, it's not about how hard you swing. It's having that high.
Got it working now. And timeout called by DePaul. The lead stretches to 5. Kendra Wade putting together another fantastic season, Player of the Year in the Big East, and she's been putting on a display here in the Big East semifinals as well. She does it every which way.
Need in a setter, you are essentially an extension of your coaching staff. So you have to be able to be on a mission for what is the game, what's the game plan. And so there's so many things.
Lead is back to 5 for the Blue Jays. 14-9. Ava Martin to serve it. Look at that hitting percentage, .524 today. How did she do it?
Just the ball control. I mean, the ball control and the discipline from the Blue Jay side, you know, that's like we talked about with Ava Martin. It's not necessarily the big heavy swing, but it's being able to have the wherewithal as well as the ball.
Big swing from Presley. When it's on time, Jill Presley is lethal.
And I love how they run her, not just on the pin, but they'll bring her and they'll run her on that 2-ball where she'll kind of hide behind her middle, and which opens up some lanes.
9th kill of the match for Jill Presley. (16-10).
Nora just has a really, really beautiful backswing. Those arms, that double arm lift where those arms just fly all the way back.
And the timing between Sager and Scholes not there. Wanted to run that middle. They've had a lot of success with it. Not so that time.
Yeah, Scholes just went a little bit more inside that set. But again, I would like to go back to her if I was the Blue Demons.
Hard swing and got it.
Using the edge of the block. Talk about competitors. A definite competitor that is in Jill Presley, and one that, you know, really feels that relationship between her and coach, where, you know, they've had net violation from the Blue Jays. Those overpasses, it's making sure the timing of it and
look.
Original call was ball out, point awarded to Creighton. DePaul is challenging for a touch.
And I like it. You might as well use it. You know, you can't take your challenges with you, and right now you're trying to gain some momentum, and it does look, it hits the tape first, but does it also hit that left arm in Nora Sis? I think it's a good challenge. We'll see what they come up with.
After review, the call is reversed. There is a touch. Point awarded to DePaul.
Yeah, it looks like it
retains their challenge.
came off that outside elbow of Nora Sis. DePaul wins the point. Good use of the challenge.
So she'll keep it.
Yavuz had a long run up on that one. Couldn't keep it in the field of play. It's 18-13 Creighton.
And I love the effort from Yunku on wanting to take that second ball. But with you being in the front row, you probably want to dive off of that and let your libero.
But especially against Creighton, balls set that far off the net, you're just not going to have a lot of success.
Creighton is a very physical team, and DePaul has done a very nice job of working the edges, but when you only have one option, it's just a little bit easier to read.
Creighton first to 20 here in the third. It's Kendra Wade. And a quick set to the middle. Timing was off. And now Creighton leading by 8 here in the third.
If you're DePaul, you definitely want to just find a way just to control your side.
The Blue Demons, the timing perfect on that middle set.
That's exactly what they're capable of. And the sophomore from Wisconsin, and Megan Scholes, I think she has a really bright future, and I really like what they're doing. You know, sometimes you see the 6-2 offense. If you have one that can run really, really well, it can be really hard to defend. really exciting for DePaul in the future.
Creighton wins the side out right back, and Sis will serve. Nora Sis having another one of those days.
Really intentional. I think so often, you know, in the grind of the game, you can kind of lose focus. And I think Yunku, for the most part, has done a very nice job and been very successful in finding those hands. It's just making sure that in the front of your brain, you're staying intentional.
Points away from closing it out.
The blockers in the Blue Jays have just come up to be just a little bit too much to handle. As they've done a very
rolls it over, got it in the donut. Big point there for DePaul.
smart, and they don't have a libero on the floor. So that's exactly when you want to do it, is when you've got no libero on the floor, you find a way to roll it right over the block, as they haven't been super successful. You gotta love to see it, coming in there fearless. 5-16.
24-17. Serve from Krasowski.
Dominant performance there from Creighton. But a hats off to DePaul and their season. East play. Will be exciting to watch them.
And the build continues. Doubt they will continue that trajectory. The way the program has been built, all the great things that they've put out on the floor this year, they may find themselves in the postseason yet. The NIVC field will be announced after the NCAA tournament field. Those next 32. The ball was in.
Not at all. I mean, they have a lot of, you know, we talked about some freshmen throughout the Big East that have been able to get in. Megan Scholes, I think, has a very bright future ahead of her. And, you know, throughout the years to come.
I'm joined now by Nora Sis, senior for Creighton. Nora, this match was tight through two. You guys really took over in the third. What was the conversation in the locker?
Love it so much, and we know it's a gift, so we're trying to take each day, embrace it, but also, yeah, look forward to what's ahead and what we can do.
Well, 18 kills today. Great performance, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Big East Tournament Final.
Thank you very much.
That's Nora Sis leading the way for Creighton on their sweep of the DePaul Blue Demons. They will once again be in the final match of the Big East season. We're joined now by the head coach, Kirsten Bernthal Booth. Coach, you told us when you went to intermission, I asked you what you liked about what your team was doing. It didn't sound like there was a whole lot you were encouraged about, but the third set looked a lot cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the third set, they really attacked our hands well, and we had some trouble with that. I think we still have to be cleaner. Again, our first contacts need to be better. Our transition game wasn't as good as it usually is. So, there's things that we'll talk about in the locker room. But, when you're hitting over 400, I guess I shouldn't complain too much. But I think it's my job to sometimes complain.
The duo that is in Nora Sis and Ava Martin combined for 20 kills. It's just so fun to watch them play. Talk a little bit about them, not only what they do offensively, but also manning down the backcourt as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're, arguably the best tandem duo on the outside in the country, or at least up there with teams. They can attack front row, back row, what they do from a passing and a defensive load, serving. They're just package players. And they're just incredible people. So it's really fun to coach them, and they're going to be key cogs in that transition game to be better tomorrow.
One half of the Big East tournament final is set. The 1 seed, Creighton Blue Jays, their 34th straight win over Big East competition. They do it in 3 sets over DePaul, and they will face the winner of our next match, which is coming up in just a moment. Villanova, the 6th seed, and Marquette, the 2. It seems like Ryan Tice has the Golden Eagles in this spot just every single year. That is a really well-run operation.
It is. And there's some experience that they're bringing back in the Golden Eagles with Villanova being very young. But when you're young, you kind of play fearless with nothing to lose. So I'm really excited to watch the matchup.
Well, thank you for joining us here on Flow Sports for this coverage of the Big East Volleyball Tournament. Brad Pace was our producer today. My partner is Shannon Smolinski. I'm John Schreiner saying so long from Omaha.